All right. So let's officially, our engines are revved, we're ready to go, and let's take off on this journey. So once again, very sincere, grateful and appreciative welcome to everyone who is here. What a treat that we have so many people gathered together right now. I was talking with my teacher recently, who's he's been a monk for 20 years and much deeper and more full experience than I have with meditation and Buddhism. And I was asking him about, what to do in my practice and how to continue and how to advance and develop more and more. And one of the things that he said is that, paraphrasing here, if you can't meditate alone, if you can't use the power of being alone to practice and to meditate, then you use the power of being with others, doing with others, in the same way that if the power of doing good deeds alone is not accessible for you, does not work for you, then you need to use the power of doing good deeds together, okay, with others. And so this is kind of what we're doing here, right? There's a real empowerment that comes along with being together in a community and doing together, practicing together. And there's nothing less or more about that. We don't have to practice alone in the jungle or have our own, private meditation practice. If we can't, if we can't use that power, then we still have to practice so we can use the power of being together, practicing together. We don't have to do it alone. And that's what these kind of events and any Sangha gathering, meditation gathering offers us, is our ability. If we can't practice alone for whatever reason, it's too difficult, we can use the practice of the power of practicing together. So to get started today, what we're going to do is a little bit of a community exercise. And so that is that each one of us can take a turn to share why are you here, and also what your experience level is with meditation, with Buddhism, all that jazz. Okay? So let's start with Kassiana and your friend.
Kassiana again. I'm 28 and I have started meditating when I was a teenager, but then I haven't continued the practice throughout my whole life. So I restarted meditating this year after Thich Nhat Hanh passed away. I was so sad to hear of his passing, and I joined some two sanghas, one a wake up sangha for youth and one a regular sangha for all ages. And now I have a practice at the sanghas, and then I'm really happy I also joined this group. I'm just really grateful that I have these sanghas to support my practice. And now I'm going to let my friend Cheryl share hers.
Hi, dear teacher, dear Sangha. My name is Cheryl. I found the Dharma at the Shilai Temple, which was a Taiwanese temple in Hacienda Heights, out here in Southern California, hoping that it would get me sober back in 2001 when I was struggling with alcoholism. And I actually ended up in a 12-step group for that, but I stayed in my Dharma practice and eventually found a group in Los Angeles, a Compassionate Heart Sangha, where I met Kassiana, and that is a tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh. So I'm really grateful that I found that teacher, and I'm really excited to be here today.
Thank you for that. So let's go now to Justin.
Hi, my name is Justin. I'm here today to get centered. Things have been pretty hectic in my life lately, so I felt like this time would be healthy. I'd say I'm still a beginner to meditation. I've done it off and on for years, but I think the lack of a consistent practice would definitely put me in the beginner category. But I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. And Kathleen, go ahead.
Kathleen Bowingham. I'm the absolute beginner. Just started in March. So I really have a lot to add or any really great stories yet, but it's been an amazing journey so far, and I've got so much out of it, and I'm really enjoying getting here in the Sangha better. So thank you so much for putting up with me, I guess. Thank you, Kathleen, bowing out.
And Kit, go ahead.
Hello, I'm audible, correct? Okay, thank you. My name is Kit. I've been practicing Buddhism for 4 to 5 years. I'm here to practice meditation. I practice meditation every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. It helps a lot with my post-traumatic stress disorder and many other problems that oftentimes are mental afflicted. And I'm just grateful to be part of all of this and to be able to speak and understand all of you here. Thank you very much.
Okay, and we can go now to Sophie.
I'm not really here for any reason. I'm just here. I like meditation. I've been doing it for about like 6, 7 years.
Okay, thank you so much, Sophie. And if you are new here and you see people bowing, this is, kind of very normal in a Buddhist tradition, and each tradition of Buddhism has a little bit of different ways that they go about that. But the bowing is not that we're worshiping anyone or anything, but it's more we're showing our sincerity, our appreciation, our consideration for one another. And that's the bowing practice. All right, let's go to Stephanie. Why are you here? And what is your experience level?
Me, I have a stroke, but it's been strong, everyone, helping people, and I'm blessed everything in the world and the meditation at Massachusetts, the monks and everything that helped me to see the world a better place. So I'm grateful that my turn. Thanks for giving to, and yeah.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Yes, so I decided to join tonight to kind of connect with more Buddhists and maybe find myself a Sangha because there isn't one near me in person. And my level of meditation is, I'm still a beginner, but I've been practicing for about a year now.
So how about Callum?
Hey, I'm Callum. I'm 16. Um, I've been doing meditation for about 2 months now, but I'm new to Buddhism and would like to learn a lot more.
Glad to have you here, Callum. Very welcome. And Craig. All right, maybe Craig doesn't have a mic, so we can go to Eliza. And Eliza wrote in text chat, it's my first time. I have a decent amount of experience, but I am nervous to speak just because I've never done this with other people. Well, you're doing it now, and I'm glad that you're here. And Craig, and Craig also wrote in a text message. Craig says, hey, I got into meditation last year, mostly discovering it through Dr. K, Healthy Gamer GG, and found that it helped my stress levels. Through looking more into it, I discovered Buddhism, and I've been actively trying to deepen my understanding of it. Great. Thank you, Craig. All right. How about Adam? Adam, you like to just to say why you're here and what your experience level is with Buddhism and meditation and/or meditation? Okay, so maybe we'll go to Eric.
Hey, I'm kind of a beginner to all this, but I'm here tonight with my dad to learn a little bit more about meditation and Buddhism because I think when I'm able to control, not really control, but allow my mind to just be free, it really helps a lot of my problems with like talking to people, anxiety, and just stress and everything. So yeah.
And Adam wrote that they have been meditating with Kit for about 2 months now. Kit's been helping them out for 2 months. Great. And who is left? Maybe Faith? Why are you here and what is your experience level? What's your experience?
Hello, my name is Faith, and I've been meditating since the start of this year to cope with my anxiety and stress. But I'm still a novice in Buddhism in general. Having grown up in a country where the majority of the population are Christians, so I'm here not only to meditate but also learn more about Buddhism.
Okay, thank you, Faith. And Gabe.
Hi. Sorry. Hi, I'm Gabe. I've been meditating for about a year and a half. I learned a little. I started learning more about Buddhism during my second year of college, where because of the pandemic, I was very depressed and anxious about school. So I turned to meditation and Buddhism to give me something of a rock in life. And I've been trying many different types of meditation, but since I don't do it regularly, I'd still say I'm a novice.
Great. Thank you, Gabe. And how about Jack and Jones?
Yes, I'm new to meditation, and I find meditation very fascinating because it after I have meditated, I think the thoughts that are in my mind are very pure, and sometimes they are not even there. And I'm just curious, like what goes on in the server, what type of meditation is done here. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jack and Jones. And how about Jack? Are you there, Jack? Okay, maybe not. So let's go to Jazz.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Um, I have some experience with meditation, and it's one of my comfort methods currently. And I usually meditate to like try to control my anxiety and my trauma from because I don't really live in the best household. So it's one of my ways of trying to keep myself in check and like emotionally and mentally.
Thank you, Jazz. All right, Kevin, you want me to read what you wrote, or you want to use your mic? Okay, I'll read. And we see Jack. Jack wrote something here. So Jack said, I am new to practicing meditation, at least with the intention of regular practice. It seems a part of my path in spirituality. The importance of mindful practice and meditation keeps coming up, and I am enjoying learning about all religious traditions and the insight they offer. My knowledge of Buddhism doesn't go far beyond what exists in the public perception, but I am seeking to change that. I have not been in this space for long, but so far I have been grateful for the reminders to meditate and be mindful in my life, as well as all the knowledge that I've been presented with. Great. And Kevin wrote, I've been involved with Buddhism and meditation on and off for many years. These methods are really clicking with me now for some reason. Really appreciate you, Bante, that's me, and this community. Thanks. Thank you, Kevin. And Mark. Are you there, Mark? Cannot hear you. All right, so let's go to Matt, who also wrote something. And Mark, maybe you'll figure out your mic. Matt says, second time meditating with you live on Discord. I was taught about Buddhism in high school and know a lot about meditation. Okay. And Eric, you want to go ahead to speak?
Yeah, what was the question?
Just why are you here, and what is your experience with meditation and Buddhism?
I'm here so I can just think more clearly and not let emotions control my thoughts. And I'm kind of new to this. I've been only meditating for like a year off and on, so I want to get more disciplined and meditate more often.
And how about, and RJ also wrote something. RJ says, I teach hermetics and self mastery practices. I'm walking the Bodhisattva path. I'm here to help the collective. Great. Welcome, RJ. And Ray. Are you there, Ray? Okay, maybe Samantha.
Hi. I would say that I'm a novice at meditating. I've been doing it for just a few months so far, mainly learning through the Discord here. And I would say my purpose for being here, in a nutshell, is to deepen my understanding of the experience that we call reality and learn to navigate it more skillfully.
Glad you're here, Samantha. And anyone else left who hasn't introduced themselves, said why they're here and what their experience level is with meditation and Buddhism? Anyone left out who wants to share?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
There we go. Okay, so I found Buddhism a number of years ago, and I've been meditating kind of off and on my own But it's only really recently that I've gotten serious in my practice and started sincerely looking for some kind of Buddhist community. And so here I am.
So we have, anyone else? Any final person?
Yeah, my dad say something. He's right here.
Go ahead.
One second. Yeah, my son's turned me on to this thing here. I need something that slows down my mind. My mind is always spinning out. So I'm real interested in it. And I'm glad he showed me this. So yeah, here we are. Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Glad to have everyone here. So we're going to start today with a little bit of meditation, a few moments, a few minutes of meditation, and then we'll get into the reading and the study. Ray says, I'm too nervous to speak, but I'm here to learn and hopefully have a positive change in my life. I think we're all hoping for that. So firstly, we can find our meditation position, and that's nothing special. That's just to get comfortable. Find a comfortable position for your body. So it's just like finding our meditation position is that we're putting our body down intentionally. We're setting our body down. And as we put the body down, we can close our eyes if it's convenient, if it's comfortable, and start to become aware of our breathing. Bring the process of breathing that is happening right now to the forefront of our attention. And as the breath is happening, become more and more interested. Direct your attention more and more to the process of breathing that's happening without any expectation or goal or trying to control or judge. But just as breathing is happening, let your interest and your curiosity about breathing become more full. And as you are breathing, aware of the breath, and becoming more aware of the presence of the body. So maybe it's a tension or a feeling, a tightness, or can be anything, but just becoming more aware as we are breathing of the sensations in the body that's here at this present moment. So at this moment, we are giving up the outside world. Who knows what's going on outside? Outside our house, outside our country, outside our state, even outside our body. Who knows? We are abandoning just to give our full attention to the present moment experience of the breath flowing in and flowing out. Really giving our full attention to the body at this present moment. The experience of the body, which is not predestined, not a certain kind of experience, but a multifaceted, changing intimate, present moment experience of the body that is unique to each and every one of us. So the experience of your body, my body, our body at this moment is not shared. But the quality of awareness, of looking inward, of exploration is a shared. This breathing and looking, breathing and being with the body at this moment without any judgment. And we breathe in a way to soothe and relax and release any tensions or thoughts or complicated thinking that might come up. Breathing as healing. Breathing as relaxing and letting go. Being aware of the body at this moment. Allowing the body and the mind to come to a rest. No goal, no mission, no objective, no fixing, no solving. Just at this moment, through our investment in the process of breathing, being with the breath fully, allowing the body and mind to come to a rest. Oftentimes, we're always trying to fill up our mental experience or our bodily experience with something. But at this time, we're not trying to fill anything up. We are looking more and more closely at what is happening in the present moment. And if we feel a spaciousness, if we feel a lack of anything, look closely at that. Breathe and be aware of whatever is happening at this present moment. We may find that there is this almost constant habit of wanting to get, wanting to go somewhere, get something, to have a different experience or a special experience. Just notice that and return to the body sitting here, and focusing the mind on the breath flowing in deeply and flowing out. So, our meditation practice is never a matter of struggle or fighting, or even, especially, not to achieve something. It's more about allowing the body and mind to come home to this present moment. And even a minute, even a moment, even a few minutes, even bringing the meditative approach to a normal everyday activity can totally change our mindset, our way of being, our way of experiencing for a whole day, for a whole hour. It's just a matter of this, a willingness to show up and be with the breath, be with the body, and put it down. So we will move now into our um, Dharma teaching, Dharma sharing practice. And you're encouraged to be in a meditative state, a meditative practice as well when we listen to these teachings. And Sophie, while you're eating, if you can please have your camera off so it doesn't distract other people. Very much appreciated. Sometimes people are smoking on camera or eating on camera. It's a little bit strange, a little bit distracting. Nothing personal. Okay, so we're on part 2 of this exploration of the teachings of Buddhadasa, right? Who was a philosopher monk in Thailand. He's passed away now, but he is a modern monk, so alive in the past 50 years or so. And the last section that we looked over yesterday was emphasizing how we are in the current situation that we're in, according to causes and conditions. And depending on what we do, depending on how we get involved with our life, we can very easily, not difficult, very easily be in a much worse situation than we are right now. And we can also be in a much better situation than we are right now. Not according to the causes and conditions changing, but according to how we interact with them, how we take responsibility for them changing. So our actions can either put us onto the direction of having a much more miserable, suffering life, or our actions can put us into the direction of living a life that is much more fulfilled and even to become enlightened. And it's easily that it happens like this. It's just a matter of what we do, the actions that we get involved with. And the way that Buddhadasa illustrated this is that in any activity, depending on the quality of mind that you bring to it, so on any job, in any activity, you can either put yourself in a worse position or a better position. So he spoke about that in terms of being like a hired laborer, someone who does laundry or a dishwasher, or someone who has to work in the mud, to fish in the mud. And if you can approach it as an art form, if you can be with it just as it is, then actually this can become an art. This can become an activity where we find satisfaction in each moment, so that we can practice contentment in whatever we are doing, whatever we are experiencing, whether it's difficult or pleasant, whether it's high or low activity. We can, through being properly mindful, it can be an enlightening activity, anything. So the last line of that was, whatever we do, we need to learn to do it in such a way that breeds satisfaction. Whatever we do. If we have this attitude in how we approach everything we must do, then working will be a kind of paradise for us. And of course, working is one of the major aspects of a lot of our lives, right? So approaching that in the right way is a big deal. So this next section, choose wisely among the many forms of life. To sum up briefly, life can take many forms and develop in many ways. Some of them quite amazing and wonderful, even involving miraculous power. The miraculous power contained in them is that they all lead to the most excellent satisfaction, if only we know how to uplift the mind. So from a materialistic point of view, right, miraculous power means that you're making a gold magic or something like that. You're making something appear or disappear. But in the Buddhist framework, miraculous power is complete satisfaction, the most excellent satisfaction. So we can all live a life that leads to that if only we know how to uplift the mind. Of course, we aren't talking about dishonest activities here. Delinquents or unskillful people have their own satisfactions because of the state of their minds. Here we mean the satisfaction of persons of quality that is derived from performing their work in right and proper ways, producing good results here and now, and not causing any problems later on. So make up your mind. Of the many forms of life can take that we can choose from, don't be so foolish as to make the wrong choice. Okay? So, of the many forms life can take that we can choose from, that we have an ability to choose from, right? Don't be so foolish as to make the wrong choice or the unskillful choice. And I like to frame it as just because you made the wrong choice once doesn't mean that you need to do it again. That's this detachment. Just because you have a habit doesn't mean that you need to continuously perpetuate that habit. We should always try to choose the form that best suits our station in life. Don't bother complaining about how clever or slow you are, about your fate or misfortune. If we can be satisfied with what we are and what we have at any given time, we can be happy. We can all have good fortune in our different ways. So a lot of times we disempower ourselves by setting up this other station or this other position that we need to be in to do what we want to do, so that we can be satisfied or that we can have fulfillment or that we can be the person who we should be or we want to be. And we look at someone else in that position and we say, well, we get into this whole conflict about they should be lower, I should be higher. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? And we totally disempower ourselves when we do that. We need to come back to where we are at this present moment and make the most skillful decision according to where we are, not where we could be or where we want to be or where we hope we're going to end up, but make the decision, the action from right where we are right now, the most skillful action. And that is to do what is good and to do what we should do. So in that way, if we can be satisfied with what we are and what we have at any given time, we can be happy. We can all have good fortune in our different ways. Okay. If we all uphold this principle, nobody will do evil. There won't be any hooligans and thugs, and nobody will be without employment. Everybody will have work to do and with pleasure. And Buddhadasa talked about yesterday, this work is not really talking about a job. It's more our efforts that come from our good intentions, our efforts to take care, to mediate, to heal, to build, to develop. It's not necessarily working at 7-Eleven, but in this mindset, even working at 7-Eleven can be that also. It can be this work of doing good and helping and building and developing yourself and others in wisdom. Everybody will have work to do and with pleasure if we all uphold this principle. Everyone will be happy in their labors, and the liquor shops, opium dens, cinemas, and cabarets will all close. They will all disappear when nobody wants such things, when they are happy with their lives, work, and duties. People won't feel the need to spend extravagantly for escape, excitement, and stimulation. Consequently, people would be able to dwell in sufficiency, peace, and happiness. Now, when we're in this kind of environment and when we're really grounded and when we are listening to the Buddhist teachings or when we're getting involved in meditation, when we're around a kind of meditative community, a facilitated meditative space, we might think, well, what's so wrong about opium or, cinemas or cabarets or liquor shops, having a drink every now and again? And from that position, sure. But that's not the position that leads to these places being successful in a meditative, contemplative, wholesome kind of space that's facilitated. It's people who are suffering and are running away from that suffering as fast as they possibly can. That's how movies and liquor shops and cabarets, strip clubs, these kinds of things, that's how they operate. That's how they're fueled, not from people coming from a balanced, neutral, compassionate, kind of contemplative, well, I think I'm going to do this position, but a drive of suffering and trying to run away from suffering as fast as they can. And that's why these industries are so rife with exploitation, whether how it's organized or the nature of the institution. With something like alcohol, it's inherently a poison. You're poisoning yourself when you drink it. So that's kind of the mindset that this is coming from. Not that these things are inherently wrong or evil, but that to the degree that we can find sufficiency, peace, and happiness in this present moment, in the position that we're in right now, we won't be struggling and craving and running around looking for those things. And so if we can really find that peace, we won't have a need for those. Okay, and so it's more like telling you about the truth of the situation, not that we're going to institute Buddhist Sharia law to get rid of the movie theaters. Okay? So they will disappear when nobody wants such things, when they are happy with their lives, work, and duties. People won't feel the need to spend extravagantly for escape, excitement, and stimulation. Consequently, people would be able to dwell in sufficiency, peace, and happiness. When tired, rest. Once rested, work. And once again, this work is not the forceful labor of the proletariat, or whichever one it is. It's not. We're not trying to say that certain people need to work at 7-Eleven and that's enlightened activity, but it's saying that we find the greatest joy by doing good deeds, by doing what we should do, by endeavoring to take care and develop and advance the wisdom, the peace, the freedom of ourselves and all those around us. And that's not a matter of just laying in a hot tub all the time. Okay, but that could be a form of rest. So this is the work that it's talking about, the doing good deeds. So when tired, rest. Once rested, work. When resting or relaxing, there will be happiness. When working, there will be happiness too. And resting here we can also say as play. So it's not all serious, this harsh endeavor, but also play is a form of rest and relaxation. So when resting or relaxing or playing, there will be happiness. When working, there will be happiness too. What more could anybody want? Everything is taken care of when people find satisfaction in every activity. Our nature gives us the ability to choose, but most people aren't wise enough to do so. In fact, they never manage to choose, and won't know how to when they can only think in shallow ways. Consider this example. By making offerings and prayers to spirits, one will receive great rewards without having to do anything tiring. There are those who do such things in the hope of getting rich. And for this example, let's just consider that making offerings and prayers to spirits has some kind of real beneficial effect in your mind. And you can look at it from a Western psychology point of view of I don't know if anyone here has heard about The Secret. Has anyone ever heard about that philosophy, The Secret? So they make image boards, and you do affirmations, or you imagine what you want, and then you get it. So this kind of thing does work because it's your mind. So whatever those spirits are, whatever you desire, if you're building that up in yourself, you're going to go in that direction one way or another. But for this example, let's just consider that making offerings and prayers to our desires or what we want to get for ourselves will give us rewards without having to really do anything tricky or difficult, okay, without having to really practice. So there are those who do such things in the hope of getting rich. They buy lottery tickets hoping for riches, but they never get rich that way, except in the sense of being rich in psychological problems, which is where such beliefs lead. This is the first item for you to be interested in. Among the many different ways we can choose to live our lives, whatever form we choose has its necessary causes and conditions that we must bring about correctly. So it can be easy to kind of build up in your mind this desire, this thing you want to get for yourself, and then, bing, bang, boom, a little bit of time goes by and you find that you have it, or you don't have it, or you don't get it. But in the end, this just sets up a kind of desire-based psychology, and it's not really something that we can rely on to live our lives. Instead, we have to really become rich in our actions, in our intention, in our wish not only to benefit ourselves, but also to benefit others and to benefit all beings. And so we don't generate that by just making prayers or offerings to spirits or prayers and offerings to certain desires that we have, certain objects that we want to get, certain celebrities that we are worshiping, in one way or another, or praying to God in a certain way, in a selfish way. So there are many people who do these kinds of things in the hope of getting rich or the hope of getting what they want. Some of them even buy lottery tickets hoping for riches. But we never get rich that way, except in the sense of being rich in psychological problems, which is where such beliefs lead. Okay? Anyone have a question or a comment about this? Something to add, perhaps? Something to share?
I really appreciate this reading, and we're trying to get you back to. Okay. All right, it's working. Hi. What I hear you saying, and tell me if I'm wrong, but what I hear you saying is that whatever day you're in, like, because I wake up almost every morning with a feeling of I don't want to live on the planet. It's just so it's habitual. It's something that's a part of my chemistry. It's been going on since I was probably a child. But what I hear you saying is that when I wake up with that thought of, oh man, I really don't want to be here. I don't have what it takes to live this life. What I hear you saying is that recognizing that I have a bed to sleep in, that I have eyes that see, ears that hear, the very, very present moment reality that I live in, those are the conditions for happiness. Like if I were to have perception shift, that like joy, peace, happiness just really does start with that recognition. And I might be wrong as to what this reading is about, but that's how I interpret it, is that it really does lie in my perception. Is that an accurate take on what some of this is about?
Well, it's an accurate take on what's important and
Yeah.
what is there for you to be grateful for. And we have to switch it up. We need to turn our miseriness, our miseriness, into gratefulness, and an appreciation of what's there. I think a lot of the issues that come up is that we think that there's something or some other place or something we're going to get or somewhere we're going to go. There's somewhere other than where we are right now in which satisfaction is going to be found. And we feel so strongly that we're not there, that it's really miserable, it's really unpleasant. And then we get ourselves in this trap where it's just we're not able to be happy because we think that there's something outside of the conditions that we have right now where we're going to find happiness. And it's not only ridiculous, it's insane. because this is all that we have, right? This is all that there is. This is all that we have. So we get ourselves trapped in that kind of insanity, and we think that we're going to solve that some way from that insane place. But we actually have to take a step back from that whole insane narrative that we're somehow going to get what we want through this thinking of that there's happiness or there's peace somewhere else, in some other place. That ability to choose, that ability to take a step back from what we're experiencing and make a skillful choice. It can be to be grateful. It can be to do a good deed. It can be to be generous. It can be to seek out help. It can be a large variety of things. But to take that backward step and choose is really important. That's where the wisdom is, to take that backward step from our friction, our insanity, that there's somehow some other place, some other time where we're going to find contentment or happiness or peace. But we have to find it exactly right here and right now. What do you think?
That's me.
Yeah.
I really hear what you're saying. I like what you're saying. The word insanity is one of those things that causes me to have that cringe sensation, because what I am talking about is a clinical condition called depression. So it's really important for me not to use that word, but I understand it from the diagnosis experience, which is I'm not in reality when I'm completely embraced in the depressive thoughts and feelings. It's not a state of reality, because the actual state of reality is that there are conditions for a sense of joy to be there, just in the waking up. I have a friend who had a funeral service today because of suicide due to living just too much too long with schizophrenia. And she'd been to the hospital many times, and she just couldn't get a break from her symptoms. And that was her decision to check out completely from life. And so I've really been thinking about how people suffer, and that I do have to be a lot more proactive and a lot more like in a state of advocacy to find joy and live with joy, and to be more of service to people who are suffering to that degree. So I really appreciate what you shared today, and the reading. It's just been really, really awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your insight as well. Anyone else have something to share?
Just everything you just went by kind of like opened my eyes a little bit, because I feel like I see a version of myself like in the future, in the past, and there's like a gap between me and that person is like the right me, the me who's like emotionally well, who can do everything right. And it's like I need to stop seeing that gap, because everything is right now. I need to fix the me that's right now in this moment, and that kind of just woke me up a little bit.
I appreciate a lot what Ajahn Buddhadasa says here about our nature gives us this ability to choose. Okay, when we wake up at any moment, at this moment, you're not going to choose in the past or the future. It's not going to happen. This is when you're going to choose or you're not. So our nature gives us the ability to choose, but most people aren't wise enough to do so, to make a choice. And this is really what this, since yesterday, has been about. We're not wise enough to make a choice, so what do? We just meander through the moment from this past momentum of our unskillfulness and our suffering, or the past momentum of causes and conditions up to this point. So we have to step in to this ability to choose, to make a choice. I made the choice to show up here today, and it's bright, it's refreshing, it's clean and clear. It brings that quality to my mind because I made that choice to do something skillful in a lot of different ways, a lot of different dimensions of it. But the biggest part about making that choice, how to be wise enough to make a choice, is to step back, to take that backward step from the causing conditions that we find ourselves in, that we're identifying ourselves with. So we immediately wake up, and I'm sure everyone can relate to what you said about waking up and feeling, oh my gosh, I need to get back to sleep as soon as possible, right? I mean, and then eventually you can't sleep anymore. So to take a step back from that experience and then make a skillful choice in the midst of those causing conditions. But the issue is that many of us at many times we never manage to choose because we're only thinking in these shallow ways. We're only thinking in these ways of reactivity to the causing conditions, rather than taking a step back, making a consideration of something skillful, and that something skillful can be anything. It can be making your coffee with mindfulness. It can be taking your shower with mindfulness. It can be stretching with mindfulness. It can be listening to a talk with mindfulness. I think a major difficulty that a lot of people run into is that we're not really solitary creatures. Human beings are not meant to be so isolated and solitary. So a lot of the power that we have as human beings to choose and to do the work is motivated by our community. Being together with people that we care about them. We want to support them. We want to take care of them. So we feel empowered to take that backward step and make the skillful choice. So in that case, we have to try and find those causes and conditions, and that's something you can put in your mind, to try and find those causes and conditions that allow you to make wise choices, to make a choice, and to put yourself into that situation, that environment. And that's one of the powers of Sangha gatherings, meetings like this, is that we're empowered to make these kind of choices skillfully, to be mindful, to take a step back, and not just to be pushed along, meandering along in this stream of causing conditions up to this point. Go ahead.
I want to ask something. I really like what you said about community. I think that's so right. And I'm so grateful you're doing this. But so we live in Los Angeles, and everywhere you go in the city, or most places, even if you take the elevator and go downstairs, you walk for a couple of feet and you see tents, you see people living on the street. So even though I struggle a little bit with the future thing not being better in a way, because I think for these people, if a social worker tells them next week you will be put into housing, you're going to get your own place, I think they will be happier because they won't be living on the streets. So like also when you said the example of the lottery, I don't usually buy lottery tickets, but I think if I would win the lottery, I do think my life would improve. So I just feel like in some situations, like being put into housing would make your life better, and your future would be better than your present if you're living in a tent. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, it's a good point. And this is to do good deeds. This is not to determine the absolute nature of the mind. This is to do good deeds without limit, okay, without obstruction, without barriers, and to do as much as you can. And we need to be able and willing to hold the relative and the absolute, okay, these two sides of the Dhamma, the Buddhist teachings, together, and to use only and experience only, not to get attached to this perspective or that perspective, but to do good, to take care regardless, and not to get stuck in anything. There is a teaching about the nature of the mind at this present moment, and then there is, doing as best you can to take care of whoever you can and yourself and anyone at any time, regardless of person or place or this language or this thought or that truth or this truth, but just to do good deeds to take care. And rather than them having a kind of conflict or trying to find out how they solve each other, it's just to using only, support it, whatever you have, using only to support doing good deeds, That's how I approach that. So the nature of mind might be empty and bright and pure, and there may be no satisfaction to be found in the future or the past. Only this present moment, existing as it is right now, is where we can find peace. But that's not something you tell to, someone who's in need of housing or something like that. But they support each other. That present momentness empowers us to do good deeds more and more, right? And to do it in a more subtle and empowered way. So that's how I approach it. But if you ever have a kind of conflict or a secondary thought about something like what you brought up, always lean on the side of doing good deeds and detachment. Let go of that fixation on right or wrong or true or false, and just endeavor to do good deeds as skillfully as you possibly can at that moment. Okay. So we do have a question here from Matt, and Matt says, "Is it bad to be selfish? I feel like there are instances where it is okay to be selfish. There has to be a middle ground between selfless and selfish." Well, this is how I'm sure there's a more subtle and refined answer, a more direct answer to this, but my understanding about it is pretty clear. You don't need to defend your anger. You don't need to defend your lust. You don't need to defend your greed. You don't need to defend your negative thinking. Okay? It's going to be there in spades. Don't worry about it. Trust me, Matt, you're going to be plenty selfish moving forward in your life. I'm going to be plenty selfish moving forward in my life. There's no need to, wait a minute, you're saying selfless. Don't worry about it. There's plenty of selfishness to go around, for sure. So in that way, it's more helpful to focus on not taking the self too seriously, and to focus on using yourself and even using your selfishness, however you want to frame it, to bring benefit and to help others, okay, or to bring benefit and to help yourself. But the defending yourself is not really necessary, because we've got it in spades. There's a lot of habit energy to support our selfishness and our self-fixation, and don't need to worry about that. You'll have plenty of it wherever you go. Okay, so I think what we will do now is have a little bit more meditation before we wrap up. Okay, so we can all find our sincere. There's a loveliness about sincerity, right? So find our sincere meditation position. We're not expecting to get paid. We're not thinking that the people around us are going to, wow, look, they're meditating. But we just sincerely to practice, right? And to find our meditation position. Okay, so sitting comfortably or laying or standing, whatever it is for you. Can put your hands on your knees or in your lap. Closing your eyes and beginning to notice and become more aware of the breath. Feeling the breath as it enters in through the nostrils, through the nose. feeling the breath flow into the body. Use your breathing as a kind of anchor point. Okay, so whatever happens in meditation, you can always come back to the present moment breathing, feeling of the breath at the nostrils. But as you feel the breath flowing deeply into the body, becoming aware of this body sitting here right now. Breathing in deeply, aware of the whole body at this moment. Breathing out, smiling towards the body. And allowing that gentle, soft smile to rest on your face as we practice for a few more moments together, just sitting, just breathing, just being aware. Okay, so at this time, we can all bring our hands together in the prayer position. And we'll just say together a few words of metta, a few words of loving kindness. So you can repeat after me. And then at the very end, we'll say sadhu together 3 times. And this sadhu means well done, good job. So repeat after me. May I be at peace and free from fear. May I be at peace and free from fear. May I be truly at peace and completely free from fear. May those that I love be at peace and completely free from fear. May those that I love be safe and completely free from fear. May those that I love feel at peace and be completely free from from fear. May all beings in all directions be free and happy. May all beings in all directions be safe. May the peace in my heart be shared with all beings in all directions. May it be so. May it be so. May it really be so. Sadhu. 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 And we can all take a bow. Take a bow to our own practice and to each other's practice. Okay? Thank you all for being here. Yes, in the Plum Village, in the Thich Nhat Hanh tradition, they do jazz fingers. And I definitely recommend everyone to check out the Plum Village tradition. But thank you all for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day, your night, your life. And we will continue this meditation, reading, and study tomorrow at the same time. So welcome everyone to join for that as well. All right? Be happy. See you soon or never again. Be happy regardless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Everyone finished, Noah.